All right, so now let's look at how we can use implicit differentiation involving a trig function, especially when we got something a little more complicated like this one here. So what we're going to have to do is involve the chain rule and also multiply by the derivatives of the sine function and the cosine function all together while using implicit differentiation. So using the chain rule, we're going to start off with the power rule from the outside. So we'll have 2 times the inside. We'll keep the inside the same for now. Just keeping the inside exactly the same. Dropping the power just to the 1. We don't have to really write it because it's kind of pointless. Now next, we're going to multiply by the derivative of the inside. So let's multiply by the derivative of the sine function, which will be the cosine function, so the cosine of pi x. And then we also need to multiply this by the inside of pi x, or by the derivative of pi x, which will just be pi, plus the derivative of the cosine of pi y, which will be the negative sine of pi y, multiplied by the derivative of pi y, which will be pi. And since the variable is y, we're also going to need to multiply this by dy dx. And that'll be equal to the derivative of 2, which will just be 0 since 2 is a constant. And then from here, all we're really doing is solving for dy dx. So we're just going to divide both sides by this first to make it a little easier to work with. So divide both sides by that. Let's just cross that out and leave what we have on the left. So we'll have this whole thing. So we'll have the cosine of pi, the cosine of pi x is what I meant to write. Now let's put that pi in front actually, just to make it look a little neater. Pi times the cosine of pi x minus pi, let's put that pi there as well, minus pi times the sine of pi y multiplied by dy dx. Put that in brackets. And since we're dividing by this on both sides, 0 divided by that is just 0 still, so that doesn't even matter. So now we just have to subtract this and divide by this. And that's all there's really going to be left. So subtracting this, we'll just have the negative pi times the sine of pi y times dy dx on the left equal to negative pi of the cosine of pi x and you can cancel out these negative pi's, and we're going to divide now by the sine of pi y and then we'll just be left with dy dx being equal to the cosine of pi x over the sine of pi y. That's all there is to it. Can't really do much more. These answers are usually going to look messy like this, so you just got to get used to it. So I hope that helps.